Microsoft is saving Xbox, but Xbox has this big event up their sleeve for 2023. Your Xbox is getting more ads. Let's discuss. What's up, guys? Welcome to Xbox Ready, the show where I strive to keep you up to date on all things Xbox to make sure that you too are Xbox ready. First up, let's talk about Game Pass. Now, I know I'm always talking about Game Pass. I've been a subscriber for quite a long time now to Game Pass Ultimate. I'm really about it, I'm really into it, probably why I have an Xbox channel in the first place. According to a couple of news outlets such as Windows Central and Pure Xbox, a survey has been going around to select Xbox users in certain regions that is essentially probing whether or not they would be okay with an ad-supported Game Pass option. Images of this survey first popped up on Reset Era. Apparently, this new tier would cost $3. It would give you a sort of Game Pass-like access, mostly their first-party games, and then after 6 months, you would get access to their new first-party games like Starfield, like Redfall. And then when you're trying to access these download-only games, it would play you an ad or a commercial before you start playing them. It also mentions that this tier would have Xbox Live Gold privileges, so you would be able to play games online too. Now, this is something that has been on our radar for quite some time now. Not this survey, but the idea of an ad-supported Game Pass plan. We're seeing it in other places. We see it on Hulu already. Netflix is experimenting on rolling out their own ad-supported tier. But me and Jimmy were talking to some interesting people about this a month or two ago, and the ideas that were being thrown around in this conversation were an ad-supported tier, or maybe like a light version of Game Pass where you only get access to first-party games. I feel as though people are gonna have really strong opinions about this, but it all comes down to really how they implement these ads in this new plan. Because the last thing we all want is to be playing, I don't know, Forza Horizon 5, racing your freaking car through the streets of Mexico, and then all of a sudden hits you with an ad for HelloFresh or something. Implementation of ads, where they pop up, how long they are, is gonna be key in the success of this plan if they decide to move forward with it. But it is kind of interesting as well because it's like $3 and you also get access to Xbox Live Gold, whereas right now it's $10 a month. That could be a really enticing option if you're not really interested in the rest of Game Pass and you just want the online privileges. I'm not quite sure if the ad revenue that they would be getting from this would be enough to offset that cheap price for a bunch of people who just want the online stuff. Jess Corden, in this article that he wrote up for Windows Central, also brings up the recent patent that Microsoft has filed, which is essentially this tech that Microsoft wants to work on where they can analyze when you are engaged with your game and for how, like, what your intensity of your engagement level is. For example, if there's a loading screen on there and you're not really interacting with the game in that moment and you're like, oh, I'm checking my phone, they want to kind of monitor that and determine maybe when it would be appropriate to serve you up an ad. Again, this may be just a survey that's going around, but we've heard this topic pop up a couple times in the community already. We know that Xbox is raising the price on their first-party games, and they've said in the not-so-distant past that they might have to raise the price of Game Pass as well. And then I came on and I made a video when that news broke, and I was thinking, well, if they raise the price of Game Pass, they would probably introduce a cheaper option or some sort of restructuring. That seems to be very popular in tech and seems to be popular for Xbox as a business. Sure, they have the Xbox Series X, that's $500, but they also have the cheaper option with the Series S. So why wouldn't they extend that to their Game Pass business model? Me personally, before we see any news about an ad-supported tier for Game Pass, I want to see more of the Xbox Family and Friends plan. That was also a part of the survey as well. We know that the Family and Friends plan is being tested out in Scotland and Colombia, I believe, and that would give up to 5 people Game Pass Ultimate for like just a little over $20. That's much more appealing to me. They might also just be overthinking this. One of their direct competitors, PS Plus, may have already sort of given them the blueprint on how they should restructure Game Pass. It's like you offer 3 tiers. One of them is just a restructured Xbox Live Gold, just branded sort of under the Game Pass umbrella. And then you have the regular tier, maybe bump that up for $1. Then you have the Ultimate tier, maybe bump that up $1 as well. I guess it all kind of comes down to what they decide to do with Xbox Live Gold. It's kind of being phased out already. There are some games you don't even need Xbox Live for. And we all know games with gold is just not really been existent for the past couple months. You can't even get Xbox 360 games off of it anymore. And a lot of people say they should just get rid of it, but there's so many subscribers for Xbox Live Gold. There's no way that they can do that because it provides a ton of money for the business. But this survey might provide a clue on what direction they want to take it in. If you're looking for a last-minute gift for a special Xbox gamer in your life, there is a pretty decent sale going on for all Xbox controllers. We're seeing some pretty decent discounts at Best Buy and Walmart for a lot of first-party controllers for sure. The Carbon Black is $20 off. It's $40, usually $60. And similar discounts are extending to the other colors too. The Pulse Red, the Shock Blue, the Electric Volt, that new Mineral Camo skin that they just came out with, that's on sale. The Lunar Shift, usually $70, is $44 right now. Almost the same price as that Carbon Black. There's also a slight discount on the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller. It's being sold right now for $155, usually it's $180. I've been rocking with the Elite Series 2 Core, the white version of this controller. I love mine, but be aware if you buy yours and you may have some quality control issues. Just want to make you aware of that. I don't want people to kill me. We also got a couple sales on third-party controllers, like the Turtle Beach Recon controller and the Razer Wolverine Chroma V2. A great last-minute gift, like I said, for any Xbox fans in your life, or if you're picking up a new Xbox console this holiday season, maybe you get an extra controller to go along with it. This would be the perfect time. The Series S is still on sale for $240, so pair this up with one of the new cheaper controllers. You can have a Series S and 2 controllers all for under the price of $300. Next up, it's time to talk about something we've never talked about before on this channel. You're hearing it first, guys. We're going to be discussing the Activision-Blizzard acquisition. Of course, that's the hot button issue in the Xbox community right now. Is this deal gonna go through? Is it not gonna go through? We're dying from the suspense here. As we've covered on this channel before, Xbox, Microsoft, they're planning to bring Call of Duty to other platforms if this deal is approved. They've said, hey, Switch, we're gonna bring Call of Duty over to you guys. Hey, PlayStation, we'll agree to keep it on your platform for 10 years. Are they doing it out of the kindness of their hearts? No, they are doing it to avoid this criticism that's being leveled at them that they want to make Call of Duty and other Activision-Blizzard IPs exclusive to Xbox, therefore they should not get this deal. Well, apparently they're bumping up their concessions yet again. Xbox is going over to PlayStation and saying, hey, that 10-year deal, on top of you getting to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation consoles for the duration of that deal, we're also gonna let you put it on your subscription services, PS Plus Extra and PS Plus Premium. Now, to be completely honest, I don't know how appealing that is to Sony. They make a ton of money off of selling copies of Call of Duty for PlayStation 5. So although it'd probably be cool to see some of those titles on PS Plus Extra and Premium, I don't think they want to do that because they're not trying to sell subscriptions to that. They're trying to sell copies of Call of Duty and get that money. But it's kind of smart on Xbox's part saying, hey, you can totally do this, and if you don't, you sort of look like the bad guy. For me, this just further solidifies that Xbox, they care about Call of Duty because, like I said, it makes a ton of money, it's very iconic, it has resources behind it that no other franchise can boast. But they've literally come out and said, hey guys, it's less about Call of Duty and more about King Games, the makers of Candy Crush. We're trying to make a play into the mobile gaming market because there's a ton of money in that market versus the console PC traditional gaming space. So the fact that they keep upping these concessions, yes, we're gonna keep it multi-platform, yes, we agreed a certain time period, 10 years. I don't even know where I'm gonna be in 10 years. And we're also gonna let competing subscription services have Call of Duty on there as well. It's not just gonna be Game Pass. Hard to say if that's gonna be enough for the FTC to be like, okay, never mind, everything's good, I'm gonna approve this deal, drop the lawsuit, whatever. But it certainly gives Microsoft another talking point to point to and say, hey, we're not the bad guys. We're gonna put it on PS Plus Extra, PlayStation, Switch, Steam, wherever, man. Everything's cool, just approve the deal, man. Was 2022 the worst year for Xbox? Interesting question. It was definitely a year full of disappointments, which all sort of culminated with Xbox's absence at the Game Awards. A lot of people were frustrated with this, a lot of people in the Xbox community. Jess Corden over at Windows Central once again wrote up this article detailing the list of disappointments and also the wins that Xbox experienced this year. A lot of people who enjoy Xbox and cover Xbox, like me, like these other people in the community, we often get accused of like, oh, you're biased against Xbox, you're an Xbot, you're a corporate shill, boo, boo, boo. But this was kind of a sobering take from someone else in the community that is quote unquote biased, quote unquote an Xbox, whatever you want to call it, whatever the console warriors are saying nowadays. Reading through the article, the list of Xbox wins are as follows. Game Pass is profitable. Hey, that's pretty encouraging, right? This cornerstone of your system, or the selling point of your system, is not just this huge money sink that people were trying to imply. It's actually making money. PC Game Pass is expanding rapidly. They're seeing massive growth. And they also got this dope new partnership with Riot Games, where if you have PC Game Pass, you get all Champions, all Agents, and Valorant and League of Legends and all sorts of other stuff. That's like a lot of money to be included with your PC Game Pass membership. He mentioned cloud gaming, bringing Fortnite back to iOS devices, and not so coincidentally, we saw an explosion in cloud gaming popularity over on the Xbox side. I will also add that cloud gaming has improved significantly this year, and that extends to remote play too. I was literally playing The Witcher 3 on my phone, streaming it from my Xbox, and it looked amazing. It ran great. He also mentions that Xbox locked down some pretty important third-party stuff, like finally bringing Persona 5 to Xbox consoles and to Game Pass. I'm gonna throw in locking down Chivalry 2 for Game Pass as well. That was awesome. And I'm gonna say Xbox's other wins this year are just Obsidian games, and Jess Corden talks about this in the article as well. You know, the games that they put out this year may not be your cup of tea, like the Grounded 1.0 version and Pentiment. Both games really showed the artistic, imaginative side of Obsidian games, and it showed how they could put out fresh, quality games with like 10 people. Both of the teams that worked on either of those games are super small. What happens when you give Obsidian like a ton of money and a ton of people at their disposal? Now let's talk about the Xbox Ls. They were a no-show at the Game Awards. We've already discussed that. I don't know what the strategy was of skipping one of the biggest events in gaming, but it was a massive disappointment that the only big news that we got on Xbox that day was that, surprise, the FTC is suing Microsoft. We had some big game delays this year. This was the year we were supposed to be playing Redfall, Starfield, and Stalker 2. Stalker 2 gets a pass. Stalker 2, come out with that game whenever you want. Come out with it never. I don't care. More important things to deal with. There was no news on the bigger games that we've been hearing about. Haven't heard anything about Indiana Jones. Haven't heard anything about Hellblade 2. Haven't heard anything more about The Outer Worlds 2, anything more about Avowed. Earlier this year it was all about, oh, there's drama going on at The Initiative, the people behind the Perfect Dark reboot. They're folding in Crystal Dynamics. People are leaving in mass. There's a huge turnover in staff. A lot of that was debunked, but in this article, Jess Corden also details some maybe new struggles going on at Playground Games and the development of the Fable reboot. He says that he's heard rumors that development is slow because Microsoft is insistent on using their own proprietary engine for the game versus, you know, something like Unreal Engine. Gee, where have we heard this story before? Oh yeah, of course, that is apparently what has been going on with Halo Infinite's development and why they've been unable to get content out at a steady pace. And then of course there's constant drama with the Activision-Blizzard deal. There's uncertainty. It's just mostly uncertainty, which is not great when you are a fan of something and you invest in it, you buy the console, you subscribe to the service. Uncertainty is not something that you want to be feeling. He goes on to say at the end of the article that Xbox continues to prove that it's supplementary and that 2023 for Xbox is only good on paper. Now that's kind of a tough pill to swallow because there is a lot of stuff that could come out in the first half of 2023 for Xbox, but the two major ones, Redfall and Starfield, as excited as I am for those, they're new IP. They're not quite proven yet. It's not like they're releasing a Fallout 5 or the next Elder Scrolls or a Dishonored 3 even. So if they come out and it's kind of like, a tepid response, I'm a little worried. But even if it's just on paper, 2023 is starting to look way better than 2022. Hopefully it plays out like that in real time. And we also could be getting a new Xbox event in 2023, finally. As we pretty much know at this point, Xbox tends to favor these one huge blowout events like E3, like the June showcase that they did with Bethesda, whereas we started to see these other platforms like Nintendo, like PlayStation, do these sort of smaller shows more regularly. Going back and talking about Jess Corden once again, yes, he's been all over this episode. He tweeted out, "My vague rumor that there's gonna be an Xbox event in early 2023 is starting to look quite likely true. What would you want to see from this kind of event?" Even if this is just a vague rumor, I hope it's true, especially after they didn't really show anything off at the Game Awards. This is also something that's come up in the Xbox community, some rumblings of, oh, they're gonna do more periodic check-ins, they're gonna, do events other than this big E3 showcase style that they've been doing. I feel like the fans would appreciate that a lot more. Like, we don't need like a huge auditorium for every show. It could just be like little direct kind of updates on these games that are coming out and maybe some games that are in the pipeline. The Bethesda guys sort of did something like that for Starfield very recently. They talked about this new random encounter generator that not only extended to people in the game, but also would allow them to put whole locations on these planets that you'd visit. Now that was pretty cool, man. Well, how about you do that for like 5 other studios and put that into like this little like 25-30 minute update. Be like, hey, this is what we've been working on over on Indiana Jones. Hey, this is what we've been working on Hellblade. This like one mechanic that I'm gonna tell you about. Hey, this is what we got going on at Playground Games. It doesn't even really necessarily have to be gameplay, just like little updates, just like give us something, man. It also gives them the opportunity to hype up some of these games that are coming to Game Pass, coming to Xbox in that first half of 2023. And again, yes, I like the huge E3 style events, but I feel like Xbox should kind of pivot a little bit, go full on transparency, man. Full on transparency, keep communicating with us. That can go a long way in rebuilding hype in the brand after a kind of disappointing 2022.